So recently I took a look at what should have been a broken Dell. Turns out it wasn't broken. It was sold pretty much as is. Got it for about 40 bucks. It needed a couple little things like a CPU, memory, a drive, the typical stuff, right? But we were able to fix it pretty easily. Today I did one up on that. I went looking around. I had mentioned that I was going to move that 6500. I was going to go ahead and put a 7700 in instead, maybe a 6700. See what I could get out of it that way. Yeah, I might have bought another PC. Yeah, this one was supposed to be broken for $29 plus shipping. We're going to swap a couple of parts around, and I'll tell you why I chose that instead of the broken one, the broken new one. Broken new one? New broken one? Yeah, roll the intro. So one of the main reasons why I chose to swap parts out of the $29 PC into the one that I had already fixed was because I already had memory and all that stuff. And total cost, I might in editing, I might go ahead and add it up, or I might not. With the drive that I already had, with the memory, with the cost of absorbing the new PC, the new old PC, and all that stuff, we're talking about a little over maybe $210, $220 with that RX 6400, excuse me, the RX 6400 with 4 gigabyte of VRAM. Is it going to perform any better than the 4-core, 4-thread 6500? Well, as it turns out, no. All right, so far it looks pretty good. It does have some blemishes and all that stuff. I know that. That's not a big deal. I'm taking a look. Let me look at the label here. It does say it's a 7700 and 8 gig of memory and small form factor. This is not small form factor. This is a big surprise for me. It's a regular size case. I kind of like this. We might be able to use this later. Let me open it up and check inside. A little dusty on the inside. But they did not tell me that it was clean. They just said it worked. So we're going to check to see if it works. Well, this is a good sign so far. It does boot up. So let's see what happens. And we are in the BIOS, so success. So 30 bucks plus the shipping. We've got what should be an i7, 8 gig of memory. Let's see here. Yep, 8 gig of memory. We've got an i7 7700 processor. This is going to work out pretty well. We're going to put this in our other build. And for the total price so far of $100, we got the case, we got the memory, we got the processor, we got everything. Throw a graphics card in here, and we should be in really good shape. All right, out of this case, out will come the 7700 that is currently residing in here. And we're simply going to put it over here. Yep. I thought about swapping the memory. I don't think I'm going to swap the memory. This memory kit wasn't very expensive at all. It doesn't really add too much to the price of the build. The main thing is we got this chip cheap. We're going to go for that. We got this processor, the 7700, and the PC and everything all together cheaper than buying the CPU itself by itself. All right, we got it swapped into the new case. Can we read that? Yeah. Swapped in there. We are going to go ahead and apply some thermal paste, get it cleaned up a little bit, do a test boot, and see how she goes. And there she is. Beautiful as ever. Let's go ahead and check. There we go. $7,700. Memory. We got two of them. 16 gig. Run at 2400. Sweet. This worked. So one reason to choose the 50 model over the 20 model, even though they both could have an i7 in them, well, the back I/O or the rear I/O on the 50 model is much more complete than, say, the 20 model. That and the all-in-one front panel, it's all one piece. Whereas on the 50 model, it comes in separate pieces. You can actually take apart the little Dell emblem and all that stuff. It's interesting. Anyway, you just have to decide if it's worth the extra money. So the main question was this 7700 going to do any better with the RX 6400 than the 6500, the i5 6500? Going from an i5 to i7, was it going to do any better in this same machine? No. And the reason why is very much because the GPU is a limiting factor here. Now, why not just leave it in the old box? I could have done that. It was a 20 series instead of a 50 series, which means that the fake front panel was just all one piece instead of a modular piece that I could take apart. But more importantly, the I/O on the back was a big difference. So yeah, there's a lot more I/O on that 50 series, the 5050, than there is on the 5020. And so that's the reason why I chose that. Overall, though, still very solid, has enough room. Both of them have a 240 watt power supply, which means that I can probably get away with a GTX 1660 or an RX 6600. Makes me wonder what else I can put in there to make this sleeper build just a little bit better. That we're going to find out. The reason why I didn't do any numbers and showing any charts or anything like that for this build is because they're all almost exactly the same as the Intel i5 6500. With no change means, I mean, you can go back and look at those charts and find out how well it did with this graphics card. And the limiting factor is absolutely the graphics card. We can see that when we're doing benchmarks. When we're running these, they're all at 98, 99, 100%. It's definitely the limiting factor is the graphics card. But we're going to swap that around. We have a power supply that if I'm using the GTX 1660 or even the RX 6600, the RX 6600 XT, I believe, is 160 watts max. The GTX 1660 with 6 gig of VRAM is 120 watts. So with that 65 watt 7700, the i7, there's a lot of numbers in here, right? That i7 that's currently in there, the 7700, it's not the K version, so it's only a 65 watt chip. Plus, say, with the mid-range NVIDIA card pulling 120 watts, you know, we're sitting around 185, supposedly the max, and we've got a little bit extra to play with, maybe about 20-25% extra room. So we might be able to get away with that 240 watt power supply, but that's not where it's going to end. It might end for the next round of tests, but that's not where it's going to end. So anyway, so that's going to wrap this part up. I realize there should have been some more testing, there should have been some more of this, there should have been some more of that, and maybe there will be. And this might be a little bit of a project, but I think I might put this on the back burner until I get the 3020 back up and running. You can see it back behind me. It's all stripped down back there next to the football. And the 5050 up and running with whatever graphics card is going to fit in it, and maybe upgrading the power supply, but we might have to do some finagling. Yeah, might have to. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyway, I should be able to get 2 good usable computers out of this for, you know, including the price of all this stuff. Maybe if I spend $25-30 on another i5 6500, you know, we're talking 2 gaming type computers for, you know, under $250. At least 1 gaming computer and 1 production type or standard computer for about $250. And if you're building 2 computers instead of 1 for under $300, maybe that's not such a bad deal. Maybe we can get away with that. We'll have to see. Yeah, that will be later on. The next video is going to have, I really got to get this. I bought an Elgato Stream Deck, and I love it, and so I'll have to brag about that a little bit. It's not going to be a tutorial or how to use. It's just going to be my observation and some of the things I found about it, so that'll probably be the next video. So if you got anything out of the video, go ahead and throw a thumbs up on it if you don't mind. Please do. If you're not already subscribed, please do subscribe. I'd love to see that. That means a lot just by clicking that little button, and I'm very, very appreciative for all the people that already have to put me over 1,000. That's been amazing. If you don't mind, go ahead and check out the other socials. I stream on that purple channel at least once a week. It's been more often lately, which is part of the reason why you haven't seen me on here as much, but you will continue to see me in both. The gaming channel, I've decided that I'm going to turn that into No Man's Sky tips and tricks and like live stream stuff. So that will maybe grow a little bit, but we'll see what happens. But if you don't do any of that stuff, if you don't visit all my socials or click or anything like that, please just do me one favor, and that's be good to each other. Just be kind. Smile, wave, hold the door open. I say it every time, and I really, really sincerely mean it. Just be good to each other. We need a little bit of that, right? So next time, until I get myself into something I got no business getting into, that's all I got for right now. So I'll see you later.